This is H.D. Ingalls. We meet again. Uh, Another exciting, whatever it is. And don't get too excited. I look a little bit differently than I did on my first podcast because I got a haircut. I still have hair to cut. It's amazing, isn't it? Anyway, what we're going to talk about today is the Supreme Court. People have talked a lot about it of recent. At any rate, the Supreme Court is one of the three branches of government defined by our Constitution. Article 1 defines the legislative branch. Article 2 defines the executive branch. And Article 3 defines the judiciary, which of course includes the Supreme Court. Now, I've heard talk, but I haven't heard, you see it blasted all over the internet. People want to dump the Supreme Court. Well, that's about as easy as dumping the Congress or dumping the president. You just can't do that. There's only one way, and it just ain't that easy. If you look at Article 5 of the Constitution, you can make amendments. That's the way you change the Constitution. It requires 75% of the state legislatures. 50 states, about 38 states would have to agree to change the Constitution. That's a lot of states. Okay, enough of that. What we're going to talk about specifically, because we can't talk about the Supreme Court, I mean, that's a few weeks. We only have a few minutes. We're going to talk about, firstly, we're going to talk about a key player in this whole little incident, whatever you want to call it, John Marshall. John Marshall was the fourth Chief Justice of the United States. He served from 1801 to 1835, and he was appointed by John Adams. Little note here. Both Adams and Marshall were politically Federalist, as opposed to Jefferson's Democratic Republicans. Just thought I'd throw that in because of the next thing. John Marshall voted for the good of the country and the wording and intent of the Constitution. He did not vote either his personal or political feelings. I wish some Supreme Court justices would do that. You know, the Constitution, that's what they're supposed to judge on, not because they feel good about something. Enough of that. You either understand that or you don't. Okay. Now, to get specific, or as my wife would say, to get Pacific to be Atlantic. She had a sense of humor. What am I going to do? We're going to talk about the first landmark Supreme Court case, Marbury versus Madison in 1803. By the way, I learned about this in the fourth grade. Of course, I don't remember all I learned. I mean, at that age, you don't absorb everything, but big ticket items, like I remembered the phrase midnight judges for some reason. At any rate, first thing we're going to talk about is John Adams, the President John Adams. The last of his term, he had been voted out by Jefferson And actually, they had been great friends for years. And after the election of 1800, they didn't speak to each other for, I think it was 11 years, but that's beside the point. President Adams, on the last, at the tail end of his administration, actually, I think this is the last day or two, which is pretty much the tail end, he appointed what they call midnight judges, or that's historically what they're called. He wanted to get as many judges in as he could. And that goes all the way down the line to what we're going to talk about, which is the justice of the peace, which not exactly high level. At any rate, it's a judge. Well, a day or two later, Thomas Jefferson was president, and his Secretary of State was James Madison. And Madison refused to deliver the commissions. One guy, Marbury, got a mandate to force Madison to deliver the commissions. It got all the way to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court. I'm a hillbilly. I sometimes mumble. And the funny part of this is the outcome of the verdict of the Supreme Court makes the original suit incidental. Just a thing, sort of a starter button. Okay, now I must say that in the Judiciary Act of 1789 was a law which was passed by Federalists. And Adams loved it. The law, the Judiciary Act of 1789 gave the Supreme Court jurisdiction and some amount of intrusion into the executive. Well, now, I forget. Yeah, I have to. My teleprompter. I have to. My low energy teleprompter. I have to consult. Okay. Well, what happened in the Supreme Court was this. The court ruled that they did not have jurisdiction in the case. Then they went on to say that the Judiciary Act, which gave them jurisdiction, was unconstitutional or something. John Marshall, his argument was very simple one. Acts of Congress which are not constitutional are not law. Oh, that's something. That is something. Now, in other words, Marshall did not deliver Marbury's commission. And after a little bit later, Marbury gave up the end. Okay. Now, let's talk about, just for a second, John Marshall's character. Told you he voted for the Constitution and not his political bent. Well, that's the way he voted. As a matter of fact, he believed the commission should have been delivered, but it was unconstitutional. He admonished Jefferson and Madison, but could not force them to deliver. Think about that. The court ruled. It confirmed the legal principle of judicial review. That is a mouthful. Well, that's a brainful. It was a precedent to limit congressional power by saying that the Supreme Court could deem legislation unconstitutional. That's it. It's a heck of a lot of it. What it amounts to is a very simple, what should have been a simple case, gave judicial review on laws. Wow. May sound like not much, but that's what the Supreme Court does. So all I can say now is that, in the words of, in my opinion, but I believe it's also the opinion of many others, I can't cite any names, John Marshall was a judicial giant. There's no two ways about it. He turned the Supreme Court from being a weak sister to being a full partner in the government as defined by Article 3 of the Constitution. Well, there's not a whole lot more to say, so I quit. Why not? I will say one more little word. Either you understood what I was talking about or you didn't. But there's a worst case. You didn't want to understand. Well, I can't do anything about that. So at this point, I believe I've said enough. And thank you for watching. See you next time.